Gunsmith Cats is just freaking cool, alright? There is no other way to start a Gunsmith Cats video than first stating that. And why is that? Well, to tell you all the reasons, you'll just have to watch this video to understand.
The name's Raleigh Vincent, bounty hunter.
Oh.
They call me Minnie May.
There, we're all introduced.
I first learned about Gunsmith Cats when my subscriber and resident Neko Kitty with a Gun, Gunsmith Cat, recommended it to me in the comments section for an episode of Anime Friday. It's a classic OVA from 1995, just 3 episodes that adapts one arc from the manga, which is a spin-off of Riding Bean, and features many classic voice actors like the legendary Tiffany Grant as Becky, who voices Asuka in Evangelion. The story follows Raleigh Vincent and May Hopkins. They both run an illegal gun shop, but when they are blackmailed by ATF agent Bill Collins, Raleigh and May will have to use their knowledge of guns and explosives respectively to save their shop from being shut down. This is Gunsmith Cats. For the people who've seen Gunsmith Cats, I'm gonna ask you a question. When you think of Gunsmith Cats, what is the first thing you think of? No, it's not a cat with a gun or whatever else you were thinking, but what you probably thought of is the 2 main characters of Gunsmith Cats, Raleigh Vincent and May Hopkins. And for very good reason. These 2 characters have so much chemistry and are charismatic. Raleigh is this badass character, no nonsense, loves her guns, and is more comfortable in combat boots than wearing heels. But then again, who really is comfortable wearing heels? The show, just like with May, isn't really meant for her character to develop, but to help Bill so that her shop doesn't go under and get shut down by the ATF. I like Raleigh so much because she is so charismatic and frankly, bad to the bone. Yeah, I watched Terminator 2 recently. Many times throughout this series, Raleigh will be a part of some really great action scenes. For example, my most favorite scene in the show has Raleigh go into an illegal weapons factory that traffics guns which fuel gang war. After saving Bill from capture, Raleigh is caught in a firefight outnumbered, but with the help from May and well-placed shots, she makes her way to a catwalk where she picks up a pump action and blindly fires. And it just so happens the buckshot ricochets and takes out 2 bad guys. And after her shirt gets taken out by a crane, rest in peace shirt, which she herself narrowly avoids, she jumps down as Bill throws her a gun. They both take their shots and save the day. I love this whole scene because the pacing was so damn well done. The scene started out slowly, then as it went along, the action started to ramp up. And yeah, while it was convenient for Raleigh to get that shot, it was still an awesome and badass thing to see. Plus, we get some cool shots of Raleigh with a shotgun, which is always nice. This action scene also represents the show so well. We have Raleigh playing the offense, May popping up to play defense and serve as a way to stun the enemy, Bill then showing up to save Raleigh, and damn fine story-driven action. If there ever was an action scene to perfectly define Gunsmith Cats, it is this one.
Maybe I should gamble more often. I was shooting blind.
Then we have May Hopkins, who, like I said, basically serves a couple necessary purposes. She helps Raleigh when she gets in too deep or is about to get killed. And there is no point where that feels overplayed, even though it happens in 2 episodes. I think this is because of the show's length. With it being 3 30-minute episodes, the pacing is quick and is only a little blip in the grand scheme of the show's story. In other words, you don't have a lot of time to think about it. But even so, I like that. It would almost be insulting to not throw her into the mix because what other purpose would her character serve? I think by far most people, myself included, will enjoy and remember her the most from episode 2, where she uses plastic explosives to escape the back of a car and be rescued by Raleigh. Otherwise, I think May is a fine character, but I feel because of time constraints she has less character herself than Raleigh does, who often steals the spotlight. But where she shines the brightest is definitely episode 2, and her undeniable chemistry with Raleigh is more than enough for this character. But there's something else undeniable with this anime too. This anime, like most series in the 90s that are OVAs, are basically kneecapped. And that's because this anime is split up into 3 30-minute episodes. Most anime suffer in pacing, but Gunsmith Cats, while it suffers, it doesn't suffer in a way you think it would, and ultimately kind of thrives on being hindered like it is. And to know how it does that, you have to first kind of understand the issues with the series. First being is the character development, which is just about non-existent. This is the biggest issue with the series because the characters felt like they could have so much more depth if only they had more time. For example, just searching up Gunsmith cats and looking at some information about May, in the manga she was an underage prostitute. Now, if you've never read the manga like myself, you find this surprising, because in the anime she seems pretty energetic and generally acts, well, not how you think she would knowing that information. Other issues with character development is that the villains, bad guys, become stereotypical 90s bad guys. And while I get that's what the show was going for, once again, I felt there could be so much more potential. Especially Natasha, who is the ultra badass Russian who carries a coat that's decked with weapons. Hell, her main weapon of choice is a ballistic knife, the one you'd see in Call of Duty Black Ops. They could have easily built a story around this chapter, give her a cool setup, nice backstory, and throw her out there and see what happens. But like I said before, the issues with this show is simply the fact that they couldn't do it. Unless they remake this anime with 12 to 24 episodes, which they freaking should, I don't ever see Natasha, May, Bill, Becky, and many other characters getting more development ever. But Gunsmith Cats is great in spite of these issues. That's simply because it knows it doesn't have the time to develop characters, so it spends its time having some of the best action that you will get from an OVA in the 90s. That's right, whether it be the action scene in episode 1 I talked about earlier, or the car chase in episode 2, the series has fantastic action. Episode 2 scenes in particular is great because of the sleek animation that's fluid, fast-paced, and still managed to retain a great sense of urgency while not being completely out of the realm of believability. I mean, just look at Rally Thread the Needle, that looks beautiful.
Well, at least this makes it easier to shoot!
The dub, though, is both good and bad at the same time. It's bad in the sense that the performances aren't perfect and sometimes lackluster. Lines that should be better than they are just aren't. But that's actually normal for the 90s because the voice actor pool was much smaller, and in that pool a lot of these actors were starting out, not fit for the business but cheap, or just ones that were so big and so pricey there was no need. But the cast for Gunsmith Cats is interesting. You have great voice actors like Tiffany Grant and Amanda Wen Lee who are fantastic and still voice acting in anime to this day. It's just like I said earlier, dubbing was, to elaborate a little bit further, was a meat grinder of a process back then. So some of these lines were just delivered poorly. And there is no other way around it. That's just the way things were back in the day. But once again, the dub is good in spite of that because, for its time, it's an amazing dub. This was pre-Cowboy Bebop, so dubs really weren't taken seriously at all back then.
Bill, where on earth have you been? You're never here when something important happens.
Kathy, I'd give you a great big hug, but unfortunately both of my hands are busy.
Overall, I think Gunsmith Cats is simply one of those underrated gems of the 90s that, once you figure out exist, you usually become a big fan of. For me, it's the same way. I love Gunsmith Cats, and I feel it's one of the best releases of the 90s and easily top 5 90s OVAs ever released. If you haven't seen Gunsmith Cats, after this video, I recommend you give it a shot. But of course, most people here have seen it, so what are your thoughts on Gunsmith Cats? Remember to check back in next week when we cover on Anime Friday the legendary 90s Western Trigun. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe and ring the bell, and always check the description for more need-to-know information. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for all the support you give me. Bye-bye.